as AI continues to show up on the continent, literally everywhere, from banks to hospitals to lecture halls and even government offices, there's a question that I believe almost nobody's asking. Well, I'm asking it, but are the people who have to actually use these tools ready for them? Yep, are people ready? In this episode, we're not talking about algorithms or sovereignty or who's laying what system on top of what model. We are talking about the humans behind the screens, the trust, the fear, the resistance, and the leadership that will take to bring AI into African organizations the right way. Today, it's getting personal. Hi, folks. Welcome back to Tech Talk Africa. This is your host, Stella Gichuki. So for the last few weeks, we've talked a lot about AI. We've talked about the platforms, AI model development, what a certain government did. But I'm flipping the script today with one Melody Mukhwana. I'm going to ask her, actually, we're going to explore, what happens inside people when AI walks into their workplace. That's a question that we've been receiving quite a bit. And I'm sure people are thinking, what does responsible AI adoption mean? What is this that we're talking about? And to help me unpack this is one beautiful lady. She sat across from me. Her name is Melody. Melody, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Stella.
Thank you for joining us. And for this part, right, I always do this. Could you please tell us a bit about your beautiful self, what you do, and then we can get the show on the road.
Stop. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be sitting across from the table from you, such a brilliant, beautiful mind. So the pleasure is all mine.
Thank you.
As you've mentioned, my name is Melody Mukhwana. Mm-hmm. I currently am the Vice President of Agentic Education at mindhive.ai, where I lead our continental scale in programs across Africa.
Yeah.
So pretty much leading our adoption and expansion within the continent. Aside from that, I run my own consultancy, mainly AI, that's focused on change management.
Yeah.
Pretty much the human part that everyone kind of seems to overlook when it comes to AI.
Yeah.
So my focus is solely on change management, just truly making sure that the people we are trying to get to adopt these tools, trying to get to understand these tools, actually get to a place where they feel confident and have the capability to use them without second guessing and making sure adoption really sticks.
Okay, second guessing AI adoption, humanely AI. So you're spearheading. You're that one individual in the room we call the human in the loop. Mm-hmm. When, let me just take you back a little bit. There's been a few foreign companies that went big bang with AI, right? Mm-hmm. And then their agents went rogue. Mm-hmm. And I think we had this conversation and I couldn't stop laughing. And I said, AI is not the silver bullet. You still need people.
You do.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I think a lot of people are not fully getting, because when it comes to, like, say, leadership, CTOs, whatever, they're looking to cut costs. They're looking to be as efficient as possible with as little as possible at this point. And AI is giving them that. They feel like, I can remove a whole department and we'll still move forward. But at the end of the day, there's very critical things that humans bring to the table that we just cannot overlook. In as much as AI can truly replicate a lot of things, we can't take that away. Yeah. But there's something specific to you as an individual, to me, that you can do, I can't do, and vice versa, and that AI can't really replicate. Yeah.
So, okay. So let me bring in my experience with AI. So it started with the Kenya National AI Strategy, right? And I've been following. So we launched a strategy. Other African countries have launched a strategy. And when you look at the content of these strategies, it's always infrastructure, data, budgets, talent and skills is there. But from what you're seeing, where does psychology even fit into this strategy development process?
So,
or does it have a place?
It does have a place, but that place is not defined or I don't know if accepted is the right word, but let's go with defined. So typically a strategy would focus on like infrastructure, whatever models, etc., the tools, whatever platforms you're trying to use, and then the outcomes. Is it ROI? Is it efficiency? Whatever it is. But then I think there's a fourth layer, which is people readiness that needs to be included, not training, which everyone confuses people readiness for training.
Okay, teach me.
Yes.
People readiness and training, where are we getting it wrong?
People readiness is not training.
No?
No. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So I think a strategy should have that fourth layer. Because at the end of the day, if you have all these three layers, yes, we have everything working, our tools are great, we have our outcomes, but when we come, and we've seen this a lot, because we have all these strategies, you come to the ground and the reality of it is like 3% adoption in a 500 people company, and you're using a lot of big bank, it's big bucks you've been using. At the end of 6 months, you come back and say, oh, well, that really failed. Let's look at the bigger, better tool we can now try to retwist and bring in. So when it comes to strategy, you need to think about the people that you're bringing along. Do you want them to feel like passengers, or do you want them to have input and feel like they're part of whatever you're bringing along, for there to be that ownership? When there's an ownership, when the people feel like they're included in something, there's ownership. You feel kind of tied to it. It's like, this kind of my baby, and I'm going to really put my everything into it. So having that people readiness layer, and not just training, because training is me coming into a room, 30 minutes, 1 hour, saying, so this and this and that, just like lecturing you. I don't know if you've understood. I don't know how you feel about it. I don't know if you're even comfortable with it. I just assume I'm here to speak. After my 1 hour, I'll assume, job done. The department is great. They know how to use this tool.
I've been paid as a trainer. Sorry, I'm cutting you short, but as a trainer, I've been paid. I've hit my KPIs, but have I delivered?
I mean, I've done my part. As a trainer, I've done my part. My KPIs, we had 30 people. Did a little, what are these things people do at the end of sessions, like rate me. Did you understand? Did you feel it was good? I have my KPIs.
Scan this QR code to give your feedback.
Make sure you rate me. I have my feedback. It shows like, I enjoyed the session. But does it really translate to my day to day? Do I really feel like confident and capable tomorrow that I'm going to go into the office and start using this tool? Or is it just like something that I step out of the room and that's like yesterday news?
Wow. People readiness. I'm yet to come across that layer, or I just need to read a bit more. And I think, moving on, I think our listeners will recognize this. The leadership will come and announce a shiny new AI tool. And like you're saying, there's a training session, nothing changes. And then we roll back to our old ways of working. So outside of the training not landing, why else do you think that's happening quite a bit, or will foresee a lot of that happening in future?
Okay, so for this, I actually have like a short, it's like something I've experienced. I've lived this experience fully. So a couple of years back, I was working in a large organization. I was working in AI project management. So we did have an issue in terms of operational efficiency. You know, when it comes to data analysis, project management, there's a lot of data moving around. There's a lot of sheets. There's a lot of different things people feel comfortable working with. Like, it was not streamlined. So leadership sat together and decided, you know what, let's introduce a project management tool. And it actually was a great tool.
Which one was that one?
ClickUp.
I know ClickUp.
They decided, let's roll out ClickUp, and this should sort this issue without actually sitting with us and asking, hey, you guys, you're the ones in the departments. Do you think, where do you see the gap? Where are you wasting most time? Where do you feel like, you're burdened? No one bothered. So it was rolled out. We had like a maximum of 4 sessions, AMA sessions, that's Ask Me Anything sessions. So you're expected to have played around with the tool, come and try and ask questions. That's how we're supposed to learn and understand this. And if you've logged onto ClickUp, it can be overwhelming. If you don't know what you're doing on ClickUp, you will be overwhelmed. It's a lot.
It's not that shiny YouTube ad. It's not just about,
it doesn't end there. It's a lot to work with. So we started with that. We had our sessions and we were expected, like, you're grown-ups, you should be using the tool. And I don't know why people assume like grown-ups are not like kids. We're kind of like big kids, because you give a child homework, you'll check if they've done the homework.
You'd expect that, right?
You would check. But you assume, the adults, of course they're using the tool. A couple of months later, they see that adoption is zero. Like, everyone is still literally using the sheets. So what happened is we're now doing double work because leadership wanted reporting through ClickUp.
Right.
But we like to work through spreadsheets because that's what I'm comfortable in. That's what I know. And ClickUp will take me so much more to learn. It feels like an extra chore on top of my very busy 10-hour day. I'm not trying to add that on. So we were doing things in secret. We come, put in the 5 minutes ClickUp. I had like on my calendar every day log into ClickUp because they were looking at logins. How many times you log in a week. So it was being tracked. So I put in my calendar 15-minute block, ClickUp. I go back to my spreadsheets. They saw this was happening. They decided, let's take it a notch further and tie it to you guys' pay. Since you guys don't want to listen, it's going to be tied to your variable compensation.
Can't be serious.
Yes.
So they were forcing you.
It was literally like forcing you down your throat, like you have to do this. So it was tied at the end of the quarter, depending on your usage, depending on how you're reporting.
Yeah.
You either get this amount or that amount based on ClickUp. And so, of course, everyone's going to now use it. Not like use it. Everyone now had to put their slots on the calendar. You have to log into ClickUp, etc., just to make sure that it is seen. Not because taking time to understand the tool, because in reality, ClickUp is a very useful tool. Yeah. If you see how to use it, it can really make your work very easy. But I was not trying. No one's trying to, because it's not a threat. It's now a threat to my work. It's a threat to my competence. And so now I have no choice but to have this double, triple work of doing this here, going back here, and then going back there because that's what's expected of me.
Wow.
And so when you look at this picture end to end, it might look like resistance. Yes. It might look like we were resisting.
Somebody like
change.
Me would say, how are you to me? Like they're not taking the initiative.
You see?
Right? There's the temptation to say that. Would I say that as a leader? Now, no. But there's that temptation, right?
There is.
Yeah.
Which from the outside looking in makes sense because no one wants something new that's disrupting my normal workflow. Like it's just another extra thing I don't want to do. But from the psychological angle, if you see a threat to your competence, because no one really truly explained why this tool is here.
Okay.
We were told, we have a new tool, guys, you better hope on. We are going to stop using Sheets by quarter 3.
Yeah.
Better hope on. No one told us this is the reasoning behind this.
Right.
No one brought us into the room to say, okay, guys, this is what we're thinking. Do you think this would be useful? Or where in your workflow would it plug in seamlessly so that you don't feel like it's another burden onto you? So psychologically as a human being, when you feel there's a threat to your competence, you protect what you feel works. And for us, that was our spreadsheets. That was what I just know how to do. So that's what I'm going to protect.
Wow. So people readiness there was 0. And now there's this layer within the African context, there's our nuances. It's not always going to be black and white, right? Me and you understand and see things black and white.
Yeah.
But in these organizations, there's the nuances that are not necessarily written down.
Yeah.
There's the organizational cultures. There's now what you're talking about. So based on your experience, will it be all that harder to adopt AI because there's also the need for language as well? Has that come across? Or am I jumping the gun here?
When it comes to Africa, so why the human-centered, like why we're missing that human-centered portion in Africa? So let me start broadly, then come back to Africa.
Yeah.
So why we're missing that just generally is because the conversation is being led by the people who profit from tools, not adoption. So my profit is like...
Just repeat that again.
The conversation is being led by the people who profit from the tools, not the adoption.
I'm going to be using that.
You're welcome.
Click it. Is it clock it? Click it.
Clock it. You're welcome. Yeah. But no, like the people who are running this, they just want you to buy. Like the more you buy, that's great for them.
Yeah.
If this one fails and you hope to the next best thing that they built, I mean, what are they losing? They're not losing anything. And then again, fear and urgency sells.
Okay. Fear and urgency sells.
It sells very much. So if here, AI is going to take my job, AI is doing this, AI is doing this, that's the perfect headline. That's a very effective marketing strategy, to be honest, for courses, for platforms. It's like, you sit there, tomorrow you'll be nothing. Better hope on. That's a very great marketing strategy.
Have you been looking at my documents tab? Because I have papers and papers and papers I keep saying I need to read.
the marketing is working. It's working perfectly. Because fear sells great. That's the one, almost number one, most effective marketing strategy.
So for me, it's not fear. It's
urgency.
For me, it's urgency.
Okay, urgency, and you enjoy.
I enjoy it.
You enjoy.
I enjoy it. It's a new field of work, and I love it, and I talk about it a lot. But on this other side,
there's someone who doesn't even know that AI. They've just like interacted with something, and then you see online on YouTube, AI will replace you. Take this course now. I mean, what?
It's the truth.
It's perfect.
It's the truth.
It's perfect.
AI generated fear and urgency mongering videos.
Yeah. They are perfect for marketing. So everyone's falling for that. And then now, all this other like human work, when we talk about change management, when we talk about trust building, that's not a pretty headline. It's not cute. It's like no one wants to be associated with that. Let's stick to the fear. Yeah. Now when we come specifically to Africa, we not only have a confidence gap, but an access gap. So it's a confidence gap layered on top of an access gap, which means confidence.
Break it down. What's a confidence gap?
Yes. So this simply means it's not just like, I don't know how to use this tool, which is the confidence gap. It's like, I don't know how to use this tool. I don't know how to navigate whatever this is. But we're also layering it on top of, I don't believe this tool was built with me in mind. I don't think I'm in that conversation. So how will I get the capability to use it if I don't believe it's meant for me in any way?
Wow.
And so when fear mongering is added onto that, it brings paralysis. Like you're not able to do anything because I don't think this is for me.
Wow.
And I'm being kind of forced into it, but I still feel like I don't have the confidence because it's just so foreign.
So when me and my people, AI, we're on this side, if we're not careful, we're going to miss these individuals who are, and they don't want to tell it to your face. I don't like it. I don't want it. Because if I say I don't like it, I don't want it, you may report me to my senior manager, and that will affect how I'm able to deliver.
Absolutely.
Whoa.
And so with this, we are pretty much just widening the gap rather than closing it. Because we think the 1% of us who are here saying, oh yeah, tools. Someone doesn't even know, like, you can do anything other than like emails or like asking what food to eat. Someone literally doesn't know. When you tell them, it blows their mind. Like, oh my God, there's a tool that can give you slides. And this is like actually the CTO somewhere. So you can imagine if that's a CTO, imagine the people we are saying we're trying to like bring along. What do we think they actually are thinking?
It's like when we were coming here, when we were saying, kwa ground.
It's so different. Yeah.
And this applies to AI. So then how do we close that gap? What steps should we be taking to close that gap? Because again, this is your domain. What formulas? What are we not doing right? Yeah.
So when it comes to human-centered AI adoption, as we've said, organizations are burning big bank on tools. It gets to 6 months. We say, I failed. Let's try the new one. Yeah. We have the money.
Yeah.
But we need to really, truly think of the people that, because at the end of the day, if you give me a tool and I don't use it, there's like, it's zero work. It's zero work.
You're becoming more efficient at your inefficiency.
Exactly. Very well put.
Yeah.
That's very, very well put.
Tech, we say that. So why are you becoming more efficient at your inefficiency?
So to really, truly bring your people along, it's very simple. It sounds very simple, and I don't know why a lot of people are not doing it. But first, listen. Listen to your people.
Is that the psychologist in you?
Yes.
Talking. Okay.
This is the psychologist in me because first of all, we have such a huge problem with listening, just as people. People don't listen.
Let me flip it. Is it people don't listen, or the individual communicating is not communicating down to that individual's level?
People don't listen. People who need to listen are not listening.
Okay.
Because as a leader, as whoever, if you're rolling something out, you should be able to just take the time and go to whoever department, whatever, sit them down, just an open doc, not a training, not a demo of the tool.
No.
Sit down, listen to them, ask them, what do you think? How afraid of you are you? how afraid of AI are you?
So you're not socializing the tool to the very people you want to use it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you think, so you could have your idea.
Yeah.
And think, oh, like if I give you this cup, it would make your life so much easier. But I'm like, no, I actually really like my other bottle. No matter what you do, I just would rather have this other thing. So you sit them down and just listen to how their workflow currently is.
Yeah.
Where you would bring something new and it would fit seamlessly into their workflow. What challenges are they having that they would prefer to be solved in the hierarchy that they do have? Because and a lot of times, the ones up there don't really understand fully the intricacies of what's going on.
So when you say up there, who's the C-suite?
C-suite, the leaders. They have like a bird's eye view, but they don't like have the intricate details
of the business
of what's happening.
Okay.
Sit them down, listen. You have your idea, but from the moment you're leaving that conversation, and it's not you trying to push and say, no, but I already paid, no. Listen.
Understand your team.
And actively listen. Understand your teams, understand their pains, understand their fears.
Yeah.
From there, you have something to like build upon. Maybe what you were even thinking was so off. You're going to burn through money. Now you go and look at whatever tools, look at whatever processes you're trying to make more efficient. After that's done and you have something, second thing you do is show them the value.
So that's the people side of change you're talking about.
Yes.
I remember one project I worked on many years ago. We had a whole program called a people program. And the purpose of that people program, it had a people program manager was to socialize the teams to this new transformation because it was a utilities company in England and they were going through a transformation. And they foresaw what you're talking about. So they kind of knew if we do not socialize this transformation within the people who will ultimately end up delivering the transformation, we'll lose money, we'll lose confidence, we'll lose people, which is more loss of money. So it's not changed. It's just that we're in a new AI world, but the same change management principles still apply, whether 10 years time.
Absolutely.
10 years ago, 10 years later, now it's still the same.
It's still the same. It's still the same. People are still just people. People are people. They like to be heard. They like to be understood. They like to feel valued. They like to feel like, they have input in things.
But in a competitive world, Melody, does the everyday leader, let me switch hats. Does the everyday leader have the patience for that, or do they need to be out there, as we always say, chasing business?
They have to get the patience, so they have to hire someone who's going to have that patience for them.
Yeah.
They don't have to do it themselves, but they have to be very cognizant of this because at the end of the day, it's a very real gap and we are consistently seeing it in the numbers of initiatives failing, of pilots not progressing past pilots. It just remains a pilot and we're done with that. Let's try something new. It's not because the tech is not working. The tech is great. In fact, if you really
brilliant.
understand it, it's brilliant.
It's super.
It's amazing. It's mind-blowing. But why is it failing? If you don't have the patience for your people, then you're robbing yourself. You're doing yourself a disservice, to be honest, because at the end of the day, your people, there's people who have stayed at an organization for like 50 years. Why? The culture. They understand us. They see us. We are part of the company. Like we really feel, I don't want to leave. Even if it's a great offer, I'm not going. It's because they have taken the time to build that people layer, to have that patience, to understand their people and to really just truly walk the journey with them. Yeah.
This is the part where I give flowers to a gentleman by the name of CK. He built me. Yeah, you're right. Every time, cheers to CK. Yeah, he'd call me about a project update, but first it was, how are you? I'm fine. How is your family? Good. How are the boys at school? Good. So now...
Exactly.
Never went straight into an update. It always started with... To this, that's the one person I know, if they called me and said, let's work on this project, when do we start?
Yes.
Because that individual invested in. Okay, I see that. Now, with AI, there's a real fear of job loss. Yeah. But then there's quieter fears, I think you've mentioned them, feeling replaced, the confidence gap, like your expertise no longer matters. I've personally experienced it where there's resistance. And when I delved in deeper, this individual genuinely believed that they would be replaced. So the argument was, why am I helping you when you'll replace me anyway? Can you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it still just goes back to AI really came with a big bang with the fear-mongering messaging.
Yeah.
Which is now, it's become the foundation of the whole AI conversation. When you talk to anyone who's not in the AI space about it, that's the first thing they're going to say. We fear this, etc., etc., etc. But then that's all that's been sold to them. That's all that's been sold to them. And a lot of people choose maybe to also oversell the AI. And it's like, oh, it's all positive. Oh my God, yeah, you should. But there's a whole lot of different negative things that also need to be said.
It's the truth.
And to build that, transparency and trust, you also need to be this is a very amazing thing. But at the end of the day, you need to know that this could also go wrong, this and that. So you need to approach this
in a certain way.
Critically.
Critically. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just last week we were talking about AI in healthcare and how patient care can be compromised if those in the tech department led by Usmat Aga Khan do not have the necessary guardrails. So whilst that's patient care from your standpoint, so what is it? Is it you need to upskill? If we're not fear-mongering, so what is this that needs to be done?
First of all, just the mindset.
So now we're speaking to the cognitive capacity.
Flip the mindset.
Okay.
The mindset needs to be flipped from fear to that critical thinking. That point of you can accept it, but accept it with your limits. Because again, it's it's either we are flipping it from fear to yay, it's la la la.
The silver bullet.
Yeah. Or so there needs to be that balance. Yes, you are right.
Yeah.
To kind of be fearful because there are some fearful things that could come out of this whole situation.
Yeah.
It's not a crazy thing for you to fear it.
Yeah.
But there is quite a bit of good about it.
Yeah, a lot of it.
But actually, you need to also approach it critically. Okay. So there needs to be a flip in that mindset because until you flip that switch from fear, there's never going to be moving
full
forward.
Adoption. Yeah. And you need to talk about rewiring the brain. That's what I want to touch on because those who are moving from psychology is a social science. And now sorry?
It is.
Yeah, it's a social science. Now you've moved to this other side, AI, which is purely computer science. There's a place for us, but it's computer science. How has that forced you to rewire your brain as well? Now, you, the psychologist here.
It's been very interesting, honestly, because I did study custom psychology, and then from then I've just been in tech.
Exactly.
I don't even know how I landed here.
Yeah, it's tech. Yeah.
It's just tech now, AI.
Yeah.
And I have had to rewire my brain in the terms of not feeling like I belong in those rooms.
Yeah.
Because I'm a non-technical person. I have a very small knowledge of the intricacies of the tech and engineering and whatever. But I generally am a non-technical person. And so when you're in rooms with 90% is technical people are saying
algorithms,
things.
APIs.
I had to learn. At some point, I just had to say, you know what? I'm in the deep end. I just have to do that. So I had to kind of rewire because I had that imposter syndrome. What are you saying here?
Me and you
have no knowledge of the real things that are being built.
Me and
really.
Yep.
But there's such a big room. After rewiring my brain like that, I think there's so much room for more people from the social sciences who are non-technical to come into this space because we need them more than engineers. We have an influx of engineers, of data scientists.
No hate to engineers. No hate to the
none of it.
To the techies. You're listening. It's just we love you, but
yes,
but we need the social scientists.
That human touch, everything. Because engineers, they're zeros like and ones. Like it's no, like there's no nuances. There's no. It's like it's either this is working, and if it's not working, then scrap it. Like there's no room for questions.
For them, it's 1 + 1 is 2.
No, it's not 3. If it's giving you 3 out. Like,
But for us, we'll investigate.
We can try.
Why?
Exactly.
Are you okay with 2.5? Are you okay with 1.75? No.
Exactly.
Engineers, no. But for us,
and that's so important in this AI space, because even with some of these tools we use, you can tell like there's some that have someone, they've invested in a human somewhere tweaking these messages. You can feel like,
I know the one you're talking about.
This is a bit different. Like there's a human, they've invested in that department.
I've been saying this, and thank you for confirming this. It's when you tinker with different AI tools, we'll not name them, you can almost tell the founder's DNA. Right? Tinker with a certain one, you'll tell this was a polyglot, a polymath. This person is very deep in researching. That's why it does not give you the responses you want. Again, I shan't to mention it. There's one that is very business savvy, and this gentleman rolls around with a certain president because it's a very business savvy tool.
Exactly.
And then there's another one that has all this artisty co-work. The English is very like Oxfordian, Etonian, and even I found using it, my vocabulary has expanded to an extent, and it's because of that tool. So I was saying the founders said if the DNA is in almost every tool, and there's another foreign tool that I recently played from another country, Far East, I said, wow, am I going to start thinking like these guys? So if you track that, what you're talking about, you can tell the frontier model companies that are investing in that human, be it a behavioral scientist.
100%.
Of course, there was a model that stops you there. We've spent so much time on this topic, and it will not respond. There was a psychologist in this, right? I don't know if you've noticed that.
No, for real. You even just how the language. There's times you can get so frustrated, and you feel like you're talking to like a counselor. Like someone, like it'll just like even calm you. Like you can just tell there's a human behind this.
Yes.
Others you just feel like it's a wall. It's just like it's a robot hitting a wall. Like,
and then it can even play with you. And we'll address the dangers of what you're talking about just a bit later. But back to the workplace and the organization. AI and tech adoption and transformation equals young people. But there's a particular group that I'm interested in talking about, and that's the senior professional. What place do they have in this AI world? Because I'm sure they're pulling their... I'm assuming, but what have you seen on your travels? That individual with 20 to 30 years experience and AI has arrived.
From my experience, I think they do have a role to play, but they also need to be open-minded and ready to unlearn and relearn for them to truly take up the space and the role that they need to within the workforce. Because in most of the rooms I'm in with the CTOs, the whoever's, the CIOs, they're also just starting their journey in learning about AI. They're not like well-versed in it as well. And they're the ones who are trusted to make these decisions.
Right.
And so how are you making a decision in something that you yourself don't fully understand? You don't see the repercussions. You don't know where the input is coming from, the output. Like you really don't understand. You're really leaning on whichever expert dealing with the tool to come tell you, oh, yes, let's go with that one. You can't even vet it because what are you vetting? You don't have the knowledge.
Yeah.
So I think they do have a role to play because, again, they have the experience. People look up to them and they're able to lead people through change, perhaps. But you can't lead through change if you're not fully equipped. So they need to be ready to just disarm. I know it's something difficult with like the older generation to let go of your knowledge because you feel like, I have experience. I've known this all my life. To let go of that and then start from scratch. It actually feels like you're taking me so many years back because what do you mean I'm learning again?
Why am I learning again?
Exactly. And I'm established and I'm here. Why? And I have all these people to do things. So if they just take some time to relearn, to unlearn first, then relearn.
Some will even tell you no. I remember I was somewhere and somebody asked, what do you do? I'm in AI infrastructure, but before we get to infrastructure, there's strategy, there's the people. Conversation, I said, yeah, I can come in and train you and the rest of your team.
Yeah.
This gentleman just looks at me and says, no, I'm not interested.
No, thank you.
I said, that's fine.
But why?
And I discovered in that moment, so there's the political aspect of this, right? For them, like you, it was just very much, no, why am I financing this big frontier AI model people? I'm not interested in that. So when I changed the subject to, so what books are you reading? Then I showed a book I'm reading from a country in the Far East. They said, these are your interests. I said, yes, why? They kept quiet. Then the conversation went on. So that lack of interest was coming from political alignment. That's another nuance that's there. So I said, okay. So yes, you're definitely right. They have to relearn, but there's where the interests lie.
Yeah, and another nuance when it comes to that and like interest, it's like, why would I bring any AI training so that we can scrap my department and my people? Then I'm no longer a leader. And so why am I pushing that forward? Let's keep that 10 years out. We can do that like maybe in 5 years we'll be ready. So
I'm protecting my interests.
Yeah.
I still need to put food on the table. I still have a family to look after. I have, a golf game here, a membership there, a trip there. And you mean to tell me you'll train me on something that may essentially take all that away from me?
Let's push that out a couple of years later.
Stella, let's talk in 2 years' time. Melody,
when I'm about to retire, you can come in. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And how, because with AI, there will be a lot of disengagement, right? So we've talked about they don't want it. At some point, they will want it and start adopting it. But there's this group again who will be disengaged. Should there be investment in keeping those who are disengaged? How do we track them? What do we do? Because those are still people. There's that group.
In terms of disengagement...
Disengagement from the organization. You're still there. But as far as you're concerned, I'm just here to get that paycheck.
Yeah.
I could care less about the turnaround. None of my business.
Yeah.
Remember how you were using ClickUp and still using the Google Sheet, but because wewe ni wakujituma, i.e. like showing up, that next individual was slowly disengaging. How is that a threat to the organization of the future?
I think, honestly, there'll always just be those people who disengage.
Okay.
There's nothing you can do about it. There's always those people who wouldn't be bothered. But for a lot of them, if you engage and honestly listening to people, honestly, you'd be so surprised what you find out when you listen. So a lot of the people's disengagements, you'd even be surprised. It's maybe even nothing to do with tools. It's probably just like something else. Maybe even my home is just burning and telling me to do things. Yeah, like it's a lot. It's a lot that can come into play. But in terms of disengagement, if you've truly
put in the
included the people in everything, like you've taken them through the entire process, and there's still some of those will always be there.
Okay.
But there's always that room to sit down and have a conversation. For some, it will work. For some, it just doesn't work, and that's that.
Okay. People are still people. You can only do so much.
At the end of the day, yeah.
So thinking of solutions, there's this big term you see on LinkedIn, responsible AI. Defining it we define in terms of bias, fairness, data protection, but you're now adding a layer that is human-centered, that definition, right? In practice, you've talked about it's like people readiness. What if you're advising a company or a government and they were rolling out, they say, Melody, come, we're rolling out an AI tool tomorrow. How would you advise them?
In terms of responsible
AI. So now we've talked, it's ethics, it's data protection, it's fairness, human-centered approach. What would you advise?
You have mentioned the pillars that everyone is shouting about when it comes to responsible AI adoption, and definitely they are very important.
Yeah.
But now when it comes to responsible AI adoption in the human-centric way, it's centered more around this tool, yes, was brought on and is being implemented, but is it in respectful way for like the person?
Mm-hmm.
Is it in a way that still gives them agency, that still puts them...
Let me write that down. Agency.
I'm a student. Is it in a way that respects them, like takes them along the journey and is not like putting them down?
Yeah.
Like, do they feel... How are they feeling about the process? Is it, even if it's fair to them, there's a way you can bring someone along. Like everything seems fair, but to the person who's actually getting to do the work, it's an unfair way of bringing the tool. And to them, like, for example, for us, it was tied to our pay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't quite say that's responsible AI adoption, because that's pretty much being forced. So is it done in a respectful manner? Are the people who are within the team being, treated like people at the end of the day? So aside from, of course, the ethics, the bias, etc.
Yeah, that's what we talk about. Yeah.
The person you're bringing along on this journey, how are they feeling along this journey for them to, at the end of the day, be willing or able to adopt it?
So then that looks at implementation timelines that you draw. That what I'm hearing is you draw, because as PMs, you have a PM background, you have time, the iron triangle of time, cost, and quality.
Yeah.
Boy, you're right. PMs, don't strangle me.
You're right.
But now extend that to that time is not sufficient. You need to assign more time, especially to something new. We've not... What we know about it is what we probably watch on YouTube, we probably read about, we probably use a model to tell us about it.
Yeah.
But in the context of this organization, back to what you said at the start, take time to listen to the people and take time to implement this solution.
Yeah. Take time to listen to them. Then as you're implementing, you don't just tell them, so this is what you do, Nini.
It's the project plan.
Press here. Nini. No, sit down with them, take an actual role, sit with someone and show them. You see this work that you're doing right now in an hour? Come, let me show you something. I'm done in 5 minutes. You think I won't be curious after I see this is actually my real work? It's not like a guesswork thing. This is something I'm supposed to do and present today. I've cut down 50 minutes from my day that I can use to do something else.
So that's where the real life demo is important.
Showing them the value of, especially our African culture. Someone will come, even in a restaurant when I'm going to buy clothes, someone will tell you, I have to try it on.
That's true.
I have to try it on. I don't care. I see it looks good. That's why I'm looking at it.
However,
I must see how it looks on my own body. Maybe it's not for my body shape. Maybe the color is not even as popping as I thought on my body. I have to try it on. And it's something that we do all across Africa. You have to taste and see. I don't trust your word for it. So why are we taking it differently with tools that I trust you and you say, oh yeah, that's the best one. Why?
If the modern African individual cannot trust what is on that website, not because the product is not good, but it's in our culture, what makes us think they'll trust this tool called AI?
What makes you think they will? They can't.
Food for thought, Melody.
They can't.
Food for thought, because, you're right.
Yeah.
So you have to come down to that individual's level.
You have to come down to that level and truly show them this is the value of what I'm telling you.
And why it complements your work.
This is why it fits perfectly. You have not taken any break. You have not had to use something extra. You're just doing your normal work day to day. In fact, saving 1 hour.
Whoa. Okay, another pillar for responsible AI is trust. We've touched on it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
How then do you embed trust? Because now we're talking procurement. Let's move to procurement. How do you ensure that person signing off can trust that this tool you're bringing into the organization will do as it promises?
So, again, a lot of us think that trust is built by explaining something to someone. Like, I think, like, if I tell you, that's my real life story, like, you'll actually be, no, that's not how trust is built. That's what everyone thinks. Like, if I tell you something, I expect that you believe it. But that's not actually how trust is built. Trust is built by that word I said earlier, agency. People need to feel like they're part of the process. They're part of the system. Like, I know this from the start. We were together. You showed me this. This is how it works. This is where the pitfalls are. This is how we maneuver them. Step by step through the entire process. That's how people feel like they have agency. They feel like they're part of the process. They're part of the system. And now this is something that's now ingrained in them. It's like, I feel like I know this thing kind of inside out. So now I have some sort of level of trust.
And if I don't know it, I trust that if I call Stella or Melody about it, they'll pick up the phone and they'll take the time to explain this to me. They'll not just send me an FAQ or direct me to a department that is still figuring it out. So the need for relationship management, that's that through change. I say this because I like business relationship management and a partnerships person. I'm a people person. So what I'm hearing from you, AI transformation needs to have a relationship. There needs to be that. How we're deployed, do you have a relationship with those individuals? Have you created that relationship? Have you cemented it? Are you converting them into partners? Am I making sense?
Yes, you are.
I feel like I'm testing my knowledge with you.
No, you are making sense because aside even from like, after the procurement and the people signing off and even the people using, like, I feel like, especially at this time, a lot of like the customer service has been outsourced to a lot of chatbots and a lot of whatever, which is a very big part of not even just employee management, customer management. It's a big part because most times I want to talk to a human being.
I know.
Most times I don't want to hear, I don't know who telling me, now press, no, can I speak to somebody? Like, you're not understanding me. So the same thing like in an organization, I don't want to be using a tool and then you're using and then you're told, oh, now go. Please, I want to understand, like, let there be like a dedicated team to like, especially if it's like very new, let there be a dedicated team to be there to walk you through this pitfalls, these two issues so that you're able to go on the other side like successful. Because again, if it's a new thing and there's like a small barrier, it slows down the adoption much faster if it was something that was already there. So if it's new and there's just kidogo friction, the possibility of me like just rolling fully back on it is very high because I'm like, I'm not involved. I'm not about that life. Let me go back to what I'm not about smooth, that life,
But where are leaders getting it wrong with their communication? Because I feel communication is also hit and miss. Where are they getting it wrong? Or where are they getting it right? Or what have you seen thinking, I like the way they communicated about AI adoption here. Let's adopt it.
Mostly what I've seen that's been gotten wrong is like transparency. Transparency in the sense that yes, we have this tool, but there's these things we don't know and we are still navigating and we're building. It's great here, but this could happen and it can be expected that maybe there'd be outages. We are still working out a lot of things and we want to assure you that we are walking this journey with you. In case of anything, we're here because they'll just wake up and say, there's this amazing tool. We have customer care, we have engineering, whatever happens, send your issues there. And it's sold like a problem solver. It's sold like a one-touch problem thing. Yet we know there's a lot that's still being worked out in this AI space. So just being fully transparent with your people and saying, yes, this is what we have. However, there's this side to it as well.
And this could happen. And these are the guardrails we have put in place to ensure you don't fall into that trap.
Exactly.
Okay. And more on transparency. How much should an organization really be sharing with their staff? Because you also can't be overly transparent.
You can't be overly transparent like, you see how we've said here, we've said it very corporately.
Yeah.
Like, there's guardrails, there's this and that. Yeah. You're not going to go into the intricacies of, so we have this algorithm, and then you're not going to be oversharing.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of companies are now also putting together their AI policies and stuff. So they should be like some sort of guardrails, but just not transparency in terms of the details and the models, because again, you'll also be losing people. Not everyone listens to that language. Actually, it's a very few percentage of people that listen to that language.
Yeah.
So just in a way that they are able to understand generally that this is here, there's good, there's bad, but through it all, we're walking the journey with you, and we're here to, protect you, your data, and the like.
So for striking a balance, know your audience, because there's a role that you cannot tell XYZ because they'll go and translate it. Lost in translation. Next thing you know, the fear is back up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. For now, we've talked corporate trust, responsible AI. I want to go back to something you had mentioned earlier. We need more like you, the social scientists, in this field. What would you like to see, especially for somebody listening to this and they study psychology? What would you tell them? Or international relations like me. Let me just insert myself there. Somebody who's wondering, this AI, AI, how am I fitting into this? Because now, in the larger scheme of things, countries no longer trying not to finance the social sciences because it looks STEM is the winner. But in a few years' time, where did the psychologists go?
In fact, I'll now be practicing and making big bank.
Yes. So before you practice and make big bank, somebody who's wondering, what would you say to them? Wondering how.
I tell them, with AI, the same way there's, that fear of loss, but there's so much opportunity. Because personally, I should not have been in this space.
But God put you there.
But God put me there. God gave me the wisdom to think outside of the box and think, what can I do different with the knowledge that I have?
Yeah.
And that's the same exact thing that's coming out around all these things. Like, there's people focusing on ethics, policy, specific things that people have studied that are not really technical. So there's so much opportunity.
Yeah.
You just need to know what you love, and whatever you're studying, how does it? Because we need a lot of us. We need, honestly, we need a lot of the human touch, because there's a big disconnect when it comes to just the human interaction, the human touch in these tools. There's quite a big disconnect, and it's growing. So there is space for you. Don't be afraid to come and take up space. There's a lot of space. You might have to push yourself in there, but for sure, the space is there, and we need your voices. You just need to be curious and find an angle.
Yeah.
Because I know it's barely explored. There's still so much coming up with AI.
Okay.
And you can truly find anywhere to fit in.
So when you talk about coming up and the roles that are coming up, I'm assuming like a responsible AI specialist, an AI ethics resource, to name a few.
Absolutely.
A people readiness specialist.
Literally, that could be a whole new role, because it needs to be a whole new role. Someone hire me.
So you matter, psychologists, you matter.
You really, really matter. Don't just take it as, you need to be talking to people only. And, even like in this age of AI where people are kind of disconnecting and talking more to their AI than people, there'll come a time where people will be paid for people to talk to people.
Listen.
And not like as a psychology, but just like, let's talk.
That's where the money is.
I think it's going to come a time like that.
And that's what I wanted to close up with. Actually, a few more questions, because the people part, we've seen the harm that this AI is doing, especially in the global north.
Yeah.
Where a young person is being persuaded to cause all manner of harm because of a chatbot or an agency.
Yeah.
Or try and infiltrate. Was it Windsor Castle that this individual wanted to infiltrate? We're seeing more and more of that. My AI said, even workouts. I'm following an...
I was there once.
Not pointing. But it's okay. I like it.
And some of these things are really, spot on. Some of it, if you just put your height, your weight, you get a pretty tailored
Talking
plan.
about myself here. But that's on the positive side,
That's on
right?
yes.
But on this side, where your AI is convincing you, something happened and I just joked. I said, my AI said, and it was like, yo.
Who have I become?
I was joking, but I took a step back.
Yeah.
How are we going to deal with that? My AI told me. My AI said.
That's a tough one because, and we are still very young in the AI space.
Yeah.
And it's having such a huge impact, especially because our youngest generations are tech native. They even know better than us. And they are more, what's the word? Impressionable.
Yeah.
They're very impressionable. They can follow anything.
They will use AI to depict people dying or kill them.
I know.
That's now the harmful part.
It's really bad. It gets really bad. And I think that's where the guardrails come in, because you see some of these tools, there are some that won't get that far.
Okay.
There are some that won't allow
exhales.
There are some that won't allow for that to happen because they've been made with very tight guardrails. That
great.
Because a lot of these tools, as I said, they're here for profit. They don't care if you're going to do whatever you're going to do. You want an answer, I'm going to give you an answer.
I don't care.
I don't care what you're going to do with it.
We've obtained a user.
But there are some that they truly have ethics built in it and the like. Okay. Which again, we also want our African innovators to come up with such things that have ethics built in them. They have tight guardrails. They are for us that we don't necessarily always. I know it's expensive. It's a whole other different conversation.
Yes, it is.
That we do not want to get into right now.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it comes back because that's not something you remedy after the tool is out.
No. Once it's out, it's out.
Once it's out, it's out.
Yeah.
Once you start building, you need to keep that in mind and you need to build with that.
Yeah. From the business understanding phase through to development and deployment. So you're saying we should build AI ethically. So people like me and you,
yes,
when we're talking to clients and partners, we have to have our ethical hat on because you can't.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't discipline the AI. It's out. It's the individual. So then, should governments go around and say who here is responsible? You remember when the data protection regulations were out in the Act? All companies had to have a data protection officer. Do you see that happening with AI? Well, now everybody will have to have an accountable resource.
I think so.
For AI systems.
And I think it should happen because accountability is so important. Without accountability, then, who's ever gonna know? We can do whatever we want to do. Who's the snitch here to say? So there has to be someone who, in case of anything, any liability, anything, they'll know it will come back to them. And so they will do their best and try to make sure that everything is operating within the stipulated guardrails.
Wow. An AI commissioner? Anyway.
I think there's an office that's been...
That's a conversation for another day. Last words from you, Melody. I've really enjoyed this conversation. What was your message to our listeners who are CIs, the C-suite, the CIO, the CTO? Do we need a chief ethics officer now for AI?
We do need a chief ethics officer. We need someone who's going to be accountable as you roll out those things. There needs to be someone who's accountable and there needs to be someone who's taking care of your people. Because at the end of the day, if you're just chasing your ROI, you're going to end up losing more in terms of that ROI and your people, because your people, you lose them along the line if they feel not heard, not listened to, not valued, and being forced to do things that they don't understand the value of. And bring them along is it's a non-negotiable at this point. If you want your adoption to move forward, it's a non-negotiable to have you people at the center. It doesn't need to be you, but it needs to be someone who you trust and see can carry this forward, is the bridge between you and them.
Got it.
Yes.
So the CTO and the CIO need to spread that risk.
Yes.
Else it will be them. You're the one in charge of tech. No, that's not me. Well, you're the only one here. Why didn't you advocate for someone to come and help?
What is actually happening, because when the adoption fails, everyone's like, but it was you who was rolling. I'm like, no, it's not me.
Now me, the CTO or the CIO.
The CTO and the CIO are throwing the blame back, and no one knows who's supposed to solve this problem because it's not native to any of them.
Whoa.
It's kind of like a niche problem. And they're like, well, my tech is working. It's not me.
I'm not involved.
I'm like, even me. See, we work together and it's fine. Yeah.
So we're going back to school. And we're upskilling.
Yes, absolutely. In this day and age, you cannot be sitting in the house doing nothing. There's all the knowledge you need to have everywhere. So get a skill or two. Doesn't have to be CG coding, engineer. Please, there's enough of those. Do something else, something that you like, and you know what? You always have space in this. AI is just starting. There's just so many roles, so much opportunity. So just show up.
Thank you, Melody.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, you've heard it from us, guys. Show up. There's always a role for you. Responsible AI, people readiness.